You're listening to Chicagoland's finest podcast, featuring the Gorehound.
Well, because I'm bringing us in.
Jen.
I mean, it's horrifying because,
Cousin Charles. And Nick.
I know. I thought I was going to screw it up again.
It's time for the all-new Culture Cast, starting now.
I am the Gorehound.
I'm Cousin Charles.
I'm Jen.
And we are the all-new CultureCast, back for the latest edition. How are you doing, guys?
Good. Like I said, this is back from the holiday break, so
yes. Yeah,
back into the swing of things.
Yeah, second episode of the new year, and the first episode without Nick, as he is on paternity leave from the podcast for a bit.
Yeah.
So, congratulations to him, and
very exciting.
Yes, yeah.
Shout out to Lydia.
Has anyone seen the new baby?
No, I was going to when I dropped off Max, but I ended up being ridiculously sick, and so I didn't really. I know that this is a very important time, and they probably don't want some sick, ugly guy walking in there, influence everybody.
Yeah, no, people generally prefer you don't drool your sickness on their babies.
Yeah, and I was prime time ill. All right, Jen, how are you doing?
Oh, everything's good. It got warmer, weirdly, here in the middle of January. So thank you to global warming.
I'm waiting for it to all to ice over this weekend.
It's all a Chinese hoax.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, this week we are talking about the Netflix movie Bright. I heard it was absolutely awful, and the critics said it was awful, but we persevered and we watched it. So
yes, we did.
But before we get into that,
what have you been watching?
Because you want to start us off?
Yeah. So, like I said, surprisingly, even for the month of December and January, you watch holiday movies, stuff like that. I have found myself watching some more horror stuff recently.
Nice. Are you trying to get on my good side?
Buttering up to the co-host. No, me and my girlfriend watched the adaptation on Netflix of Gerald's Game.
Okay.
The Stephen King story, which is pretty good. I've never read the book. Megan said she did.
That's an older one.
I think so. From what she told, she's more of the book reader of the two of us. But she said it was a really good adaptation of the source material. It's a really tense story. In case you're listening and don't know what the short story is about, a married couple are trying to re-spark their marriage. They pull out some bondage stuff. But right as things are about to get hot and heavy, the husband dies, and the wife is chained to the bed. How does she get out? And does she get out with her sanity? That's the real kicker.
Is this a new movie?
That's very upsetting.
Because I thought I saw a trailer for this, the 2017. Is that the one that you watched?
Yeah, that's the one that I watched. It was
okay.
Netflix had two Stephen King adaptations in October. It was that one, and then I think the other one that I talked about was 1922, which is a short story by Stephen King. It was kind of cool seeing that. So
you want to give us your 30-second review of Gerald's Game?
Like I said, really solid, really suspenseful. I love the way they kind of played around with the sort of the character's psyche. Like I said, because you start seeing visions of people who may or may not be there, and I like how they kind of you can almost see them representing different parts of her mind as she's trying to work out this situation. Did not like the movie is great, but then they tack on another 10-minute explanation for an element of the story that I thought was really dumb. If you see it, you probably know what I'm talking about. I won't give any spoilers, but it's just really tacked on for us. It's really unnecessary.
Yeah. So
Gerald's Game, go see it.
Cool. Yeah, I saw the trailer and it did look intriguing. So,
very good.
Anything else?
Yeah, and then the other thing to kind of, like I said, this is a show that I don't know if I necessarily like it, but I am intrigued by it. Me and Megan have been watching American Horror Story.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. I'm half and half. I never really had an interest to watch the show before until she kind of had it on. But when it's on, I'm okay, I kind of want to see where this all goes.
Yeah.
So I watched at I didn't watch 1 and 2. We started off in 3, which was Coven. Worked our way through Hotel, and now Megan is in the other room watching Roanoke.
Okay.
So I like season 3. That was pretty good. Season 4 got a little half and half. Like, it's kind of good, but there's also kind of some weird parts and not like, or I shouldn't say weird parts like that's weird. It's like weird choices. I don't know if any of you guys have seen it, but like Jessica Lange's character is like some sort of like the leader of like this freak show, which is fine, but they do this really one out of place thing that just kind of that has no explanation whatsoever.
Okay.
Like, Jessica Lange's character does Life on Mars, and I'm trying to remember what else. Because that's the main one that I think she sings a couple times, and they never really give an explanation as to why she's singing David Bowie. Like, it's very odd, because everything's set up in, like, this sort of 50s Jupiter, Florida. And it's just like, why David Bowie? It's just really out of place. Is because like David Bowie's kind of like sort of a weird figure, but by the 50s he wasn't really like famous or wasn't even in like a musician yet. So it's a really odd choice. And that one and then Hotel kind of drags its feet a lot. Like it just sort of goes on and on and on. Mm-hmm. Kind of the same way with Freak Show. It's sort of like it didn't really know where it wanted to end. It was like by the time it got to a satisfying point, it then just kept going. Like the main mystery in Freak Show, I remember, got wrapped up in like the first 4 or 6 episodes, and then there was still another 13. And they never it was like you kind of had a satisfying conclusion. Why are you going still? And it just kind of, I don't know. It's like I don't know if I necessarily love it, but I also can't stop looking away. So it's got my attention. That's something.
Yeah, I've never seen any of the American Horror Stories, but
it's always the same cast, right?
It's kind of a rotating cast of characters, but usually a lot of the same actors. Usually, at least in 3, 4, and 5, they've kept a lot of the. There's usually like a rotating cast of characters. The mainstay, I think, is Sarah Paulson. Like, I think she has so far had a role in like every season from what I've been told and from what I've seen, but including Roanoke, which is the most recent one, which I don't know, I just finished watching the first episode of that, and that was kind of they kind of switch it up. Like, all of them are sort of like scripted anthologies, and then it kind of turned this last season so far. I don't know where they're going to go fully with it, but they're kind of setting up like it's kind of set up like one of those documentary or like paranormal TV shows like Paranormal Survivor we've been watching, where it's like, they have like reenactments, and then they have the talking head interviews and stuff like that. So it's kind of a bit of a weird change up, but I don't know.
All right, Jen, how are you feeling? What's been on your mind?
Let's see. So I went and saw I, Tanya earlier this week, and let me just say I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought it looked at a very complicated woman, and it was really fascinating because, I was like 9 when the whole Nancy Kerrigan, Tanya Harding thing happened, and so old enough to kind of know what was going on, but not necessarily old enough to kind of understand like all the, class implications that were at play, and I think they do a pretty good job of going over them. Now, there's one point in the movie that I think I'll be sort of interested. I haven't really had time to unpack it with anyone who has seen the movie, but there's definitely, the story is presented as a series of interviews by a lot of the key players involved in it, especially Tanya and her husband, Jeff, and her ex-husband by now. And so it was really interesting because, she's not necessarily a reliable narrator, but at one point she refers to kind of the culture at large turning her into a punchline as abusing her in the same way that she'd been abused by both her mother and her husband. And I was like, that's a really interesting line for a movie to accuse us of. And I think, us as a people, and I think there's a lot to unpack there that I kind of want to see other people's hot takes on. And because, it's an interesting premise, and you can say she's an unreliable narrator. And I don't know if the movie necessarily agrees with that, or if that's just something that Tanya, as, you know, a 40-year-old being interviewed for this movie, is telling us. But, you know, it was definitely an interesting moment. But it was a cool movie. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how it does this award season. So,
and that was Harley Quinn in that, right?
That was Harley Quinn.
Yeah, okay.
Looking very different, although not necessarily wearing more pants.
So is she more crazy? So is she more crazy in I, Tonya or in Suicide Squad or Wolf of Wall Street for that matter?
Definitely in Suicide Squad. In I, Tonya, I think she is more willfully ignoring stuff she knows that is happening. You know, or just kind of muddling through her life trying to make it work. I don't necessarily think she's crazy, but I think that's also a point of the movie, is that, like, we all have our own version of history that may or may not, you know, be true, but it's what we think it is. So
history is written by the winners.
Right. And, you know, like, there's no, you know, everyone's interpretation of what happened is going to be different. And we can't say one version is necessarily, like, the real one. It's just kind of what happened or what didn't happen.
So what you're saying is true from a certain point of view.
Yes. Yeah.
You get.
All right. And you watched the award ceremony, right?
Of course, I watched the Golden Globes, and also it was an interesting year. You know, a lot of people, a lot of women wearing black as part of a rollout of a program called Time's Up, which was looking at helping people being sexually harassed in not only in Hollywood but in, you know, all sorts of industries. And so they were really promoting that. And you know, so it was definitely a little bit more somber than usual. Like, normally I watch the Golden Globes just to kind of get a kick out of watching all these celebrities be drunk, and so it was definitely a lot more sober than usual on more than one level. But a lot of interesting speeches, a lot of fun moments, you know. And I think Seth Meyers did a pretty good job. I didn't really like him, but I think he has done pretty good things with his show in terms of doing well in the current political climate. So I was really interested to see how he would do hosting.
I don't ever watch these things, and so I was completely open-minded, but I thought he was pretty funny, and I thought he handled it very well, but I don't really know much.
I thought he did pretty well. You know, and I think it'll be interesting to see how all the different hosts this year try to play off or, you know, avoid or lean into a lot of things that are currently happening politically. It'll be interesting to see how that all goes down. But I thought he did pretty well. And like I said, I mean, I didn't necessarily like him prior to the last year or so, but since then I think he's really kind of come into his own as a TV host, and I mostly, you know, like his segments when I see them on YouTube the next day.
I have to say, that's what I do like about, like, because he's kind of growing me to, sort of growing me and sort of made his own little voice, especially taking over the Late Show. Right. It's the Late Show, right?
You know, I don't know what the difference is between them.
Okay. Yeah, but so I gotta agree with that. Like, he's kind of, I wouldn't say one of my favorites, but definitely I find myself enjoying his content a lot more. Especially considering it's like he's doing SNL Weekend Update, but I don't know, it's his own flavor, so it works. The main takeaway that I took out of the Golden Globes was that I finally saw the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, Tommy motherfucking Wiseau, get a Golden Globe for creating The Room. Finally, he's being recognized for his some sort
I
of
will
genius.
never get over it, just how weird he is.
Oh, I guess this would kind of go into the what I've been watching, but this is more what I've been reading. My one friend for Christmas had got one of my best friends from college, Josh Bohm. Shout out to you, buddy. He had gotten me a copy of The Disaster Artist.
Yeah.
The book that the movie that won the award is based on. Oh man, does it go into how fucking weird he is? Like, it's not an act. He really is just that bizarre. It's
There's a podcast, Stuff You Should Know, that had him on there for a little bit, and just his ramblings are just like, man, I don't know where it comes from. Like, I would have to imagine that over a few years you would, like, start to form some sort of solid opinion that just makes sense. But I don't know. I mean, the guy is entertaining from all aspects. I'll give him that.
Yeah. I have heard, I think in a recent interview, he's just waiting for Disney or somebody like that to give him like a Marvel movie.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Say this. I don't care. I will give you every cent to my life saving. I want to see what a Tommy Wiseau directed Marvel movie looks like. Because he is just, I don't know. I think the first weird thing he does in like the book that they like in the first chapter, they from Greg's perspective, that's the guy who plays Mark in the room, is whenever Tommy apparently goes to a restaurant, he orders a glass of hot water. Let that just ramble on in there. A glass of hot water, not tea, not coffee. It's just like you kind of want to know, like, where's that coming from? But yeah, no. So and also in the best part of him being on stage winning an award for something he created in conjunction to The Room was him trying to steal the mic from James Franco.
Yeah.
Oh man. So
James Franco is someone I just sort of want to hit in the face. Like I've just for years wanted to hit him in the face, and I have to say, like, I think his speech was sort of tone deaf, but I think it was especially interesting to see him like pushing Tommy Wiseau away from the mic, and I was like, that's an interesting choice because you would not have gotten this award if not for this other thing. Like it just left me wanting to punch him in the face some more.
I mean, if anyone at the Golden Globes had any sort of sense, they would have let Tommy have the mic and just let him say whatever the hell he wants. I want to see what Tommy Wiseau says as he's receiving an award.
No, he needs his own podcast. Just an hour every week.
Can you imagine trying to edit his podcast?
I would love to just listen to him ramble for an hour and just see what comes out.
Probably, I imagine I don't know, probably just
actually,
sheer brilliance.
I don't know. There was one podcast that I tried to listen to from one of my favorite metal bands called Darkest Hour, and it was just one of the members of the band that was just listening to his own album while drinking beers in between the song and just be like, oh, I love this song, this one coming up, so great, I just love to just like chill out and just listen to it. And he like pretty much repeated that same exact thing after every song, and it was like I couldn't get through it. As much as I love this band, I couldn't do it. It was weird, but
a little bit of an ego trip.
Yeah. Jen, anything else?
Oh no, yeah, I think that's all the pop culture I took in this week.
All right.
Are you getting a lot of weird feedback, or is it just me?
That's a classic cuz feedback.
Okay.
Is that really mine?
It is, but that's fine. It's fine. So I've seen quite a few, but some. Let me just start. I started watching Ash vs. Evil Dead Season 2 because that is on Netflix, and that has been super fun. I'm a big Evil Dead fan, and this one, I don't really know if it lives up to the originals, but it's just super fun. Bruce Campbell is just hilarious, and the script is hilarious, and there's not many TV series that I could really get into because I don't know. There's horrific elements in this. You got Bruce Campbell. You got it introduces other characters, and it's fun. I also watched reportedly one of the best horror movies of 2017 called Raw. Have either of you heard of that?
No.
I have heard of it. I have not seen it.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
I wanted just like something brutal, and I knew that there was like cannibalism in this, so I was like, let's do this. So it's a French foreign film. It's coming of age story, and so the brief premise is a girl goes away to college. She's been a vegetarian all her life. And,
maybe I have heard of this, but I don't think I know too much about it.
Yeah, she's a vegetarian. She goes off to veterinary school, and she's a vegetarian. And what do you know? During hazing, they force her to eat a piece of meat, and the story ensues. It was very good because it deals with a lot of elements. Because she's going away to college, so she's like, I don't know, she's coming of age. It's at a university. It's a veterinarian university. It's French. There's a lot of homosexuality in the film, and it's just there's all these different elements, and it's really good. So it's very serious, and it's not very fun, but I could see why a lot of people are saying it's one of the best movies of the year. Been keeping up with Vikings. This last episode was, I think, one of my favorites of the series because just there's quite a few good things that happen in all the previous episodes. It's just been nothing but just like digging into the dirt and just like, this sucks. I just want the good guys to win. So very happy with that. And then I don't know the phrase for this, but I worked from home one of these days, and when I work from home, I tend to watch old sci-fi movies. And so in one day, I watched 4 sci-fi movies from my 50-movie sci-fi invasion movie set. And those 4 were Galaxina, Robo-Vampire, Gypsy Moon, and Horror High. And
Horror High?
Yeah, it was, that one's about this guy who gets, like, this rage virus, but whenever he goes into, like, attack mode, you just, like, can't see anything because the lighting in the film is so awful. So I really wouldn't recommend it because, like, as soon as it gets fun, it's just the lighting goes out. And so it's like, what's the point of that? But I was, like, multitasking at the same time. And it's like, instead of listening to a podcast, I watch a bad sci-fi movie. So, but leading into the next segment, I've also been watching X-Files. There's been 2 new episodes to the season this year. Can you guess who the man crush of the week is?
Man crush.
Is it David Duchovny?
That it is. Man,
Really?
Double D. He came in like an earthquake. Just rocked my socks. I love David Duchovny, and I'm so glad that he came back because I loved watching Californication because that was on for so long, and I got a dose of David whenever I wanted it, and now it's been many years since that cut off, and he's done like a few small things, but he just came back full force in this. But I'm going to leave my analysis of Vikings off the table until that Nick feller comes back. So, all right. You guys ready to talk Bright?
Absolutely.
Yes.
All right. So, Cuz, you had suggested this movie. Why did you suggest it?
Yes. Well, I guess like a lot of people, sort of like really, I guess a lot of people from my age, really, Netflix has really become this sort of almost overnight has sort of become this all-encompassing sort of like media giant. And this is, and while I feel like I feel like they've made big shows and I feel like they've made pretty big movies. People are really hyping up like this is going to be their first really big blockbuster. This is going to be like the movie that's going to put Netflix on the map. Or they're really kind of really building up the sort of the star power and the star power they have behind it. But I guess the bigger than that was, of course, the budget. This is the biggest Netflix project ever.
I didn't know that.
That's what every tabloid I ever saw related to the movie was talking more about how big the budget was, which is like $70 million, which is probably that's a pretty decent action movie budget. But they were like, we're going to get David Ayer, and we're going to get it's a Max Landis script, which probably is not really worth much these days.
Yeah. I came in this from a different angle. I know nothing about it. I know that I saw it on the Netflix queue, like saying, "Oh, this is the movie that you should watch next." And I heard that it was really, really bad, and that Netflix had greenlit a sequel even before they released this one. And it was one of those like critics versus. Or just the fact that, just because everybody hates this movie doesn't mean it's not going to make money. People are interested in this, and so they're going to go see it. And presumably Netflix was like, yeah, if they're going to go see it, then awesome. And it worked.
Yeah. I was it just kind of, because I was just really interested to see how, I think I wasn't like, oh man, I'm so excited to see this. It really was from all that feedback, okay, how bad is this? How much of a train wreck is this movie? And do you want me to give the long and short of it, what I think?
I think you should probably do a summary too.
Yeah. Let's hear the brief summary of what the movie is about, because do we really know?
No, I don't think. I think if you're tuning in for the first time, you probably have no idea and don't have the internet or don't have Netflix. Yeah. You probably have no idea what we're talking about.
Or if you actually did watch it, you could be coming at this from I still have no idea what I just watched perspective.
Well, from what I gathered, Bright is a cop story taking place in a version of LA where fantasy creatures and fantasy elements are just part of the everyday norm. Fairies are like raccoons in your trash. dragons fly. Dragons fly over the cityscape, and there's a huge rift between humans and orcs, as is typical in fantasy. Basically, it's kind of like I said. Story-wise, it's, you got a seasoned cop who's out there, just getting ready, counting the days down till retirement, and then you got the young rookie who's wanting to do good and change the world. And they go on a crazy adventure with murder, mayhem, and running away from things. So
that sounds pretty good. Jen, how did you feel when we asked you to watch this movie?
Well, I wasn't surprised because, I think it certainly makes an interesting companion piece to our movie last week or 2 weeks ago of the Christmas Prince,
Oh, yes, a Netflix movie.
Right. In that they're both Netflix movies, but, one they spent, a reported $90 million on, and the other one they made with, some gum and some Scotch tape. So,
somehow they're both equally awful.
Yeah, but oh, gosh, guys, I hated this movie. I hated it so much. It was definitely one of those movies that's not just bad in that maybe it's not the kind of, I'm not a big cop movie person and I'm not a big fantasy movie person. So and also I'm not a 13-year-old boy. So I was not the target market here.
You think that's who it was young men, young boys?
So I don't know. I mean, I don't really
because
know
that would make sense because
who is craving this particular blend of everything. I'm sure there is somebody at Netflix who spat all this information into a computer and said, yes, this is our target market. This is who we're aiming for. But God help me, I don't know who those people are. I hope they're not my friends, I hope it's not that they looked at people my age and they were like, yes, 32-year-olds will love this, because I hope that people are better than that.
I was watching this and I heard it was very bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I went into it thinking it was going to be really bad, but I came out of this, I was like, there are a lot of things that make no sense. I have no idea what's going on. But I fell into the exact reason that they put this out there, because I watched the entire thing and I paid attention during the entire thing because it was intriguing, because I was like, how did we get here? What are we doing next? What other crazy thing are we going to be doing? And the universe within it, I found very interesting, because there's a lot you can do, but then again, that was a jam-packed universe.
So I think that's really interesting, because actually, I think my biggest complaint about the movie was that I felt like the universe was just very poorly conceived. It reminded me a lot of Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, or of the Abraham Lincoln Zombie Hunter movies. Yeah. And the problem with both of those movies is that in both of those cases, they just take a thing that already exists and they're like, okay, this thing is cool. What if we added zombies? And then nothing else about the world changes. Yeah. And that's not how that works. In a world where you have zombies, the social structure is different and how people behave is different. And they're going to have different social norms and stuff. And so you can really tell a writer who goes at it and is just zombies are cool, man. And Pride and Prejudice is boring because it's about girls. So what if there were zombies? And then it'd be cool. But no, you can't just go in there and add zombies to a story. You have to put some thought into world building. And I felt like this was the same problem, where I went into Bright and I was like, okay, if all of this is happening, if you live in a world where there are orcs and there are elves and there are fairies and all of this is a thing, and there was a war 2,000 years ago that we're defining society by how this war went down. The world can't just be the regular world, but also some signs that say fairy parking here. It's got to be, you have to actually change some stuff. It can't just be the same stuff plus also all this other stuff. You have to, something about the way society has to run differently. In a world where there was, this kind of societal stratosphere based on type of person you are, you're not going to have the same racial dynamics that take place in 21st century America taking place when also there were orcs and elves and whatever. You've got to change that, because all of history is going to be different because all this stuff happened. It's not going to just follow the same pattern where there's racialized slavery or something, stuff like that would change. So you have to You have to put some thought into that, and I feel like this movie put no thought into that.
Because they're kind of equating like black and white people as like an orc is just the same as a black or white person, but an orc is an orc. And it's not just going to like fit into, society as usual. An orc is a beast, and it's going to change how societal structure works. Like,
yes,
they're beastly things, and if there are fairies, then they are going to kick out raccoons, and it's just going to change everything about it.
I mean, I'm not saying that I could write this movie. Let me take that back. I could definitely rewrite this movie. I could put a weekend's worth of thought into world building. And I'm not saying it would be like a great job at world building over a weekend, but I think I could make it be a little more comprehensive and coherent than they did in this movie.
Yeah.
I will say I'm a little bit more forgiving of the world, and because I feel like this has been a fantasy idea that maybe has been passed around like around D&D circles or something like that. Like, what if magic took place in modern times or something like that? I will give the film at least some credit for I haven't seen a world like this before put to film. Whether that makes it a good world, I think is different. But I haven't seen anything like this, and I will give at least credit for trying to introduce these very radically distinct elements into a world that's very similar to our own. I do agree with you. Yeah, realistically, if these elements did exist, our entire society would be changed up. It wouldn't be blunt allegory, here. There would be some differences, but at least I will say I've never really seen like a vision of a world like this, kind of before, and that's kind of why I enjoyed it. I did enjoy that aspect because I was like, I wish they could do a little bit more with this, where these fantasy creatures are like real and they walk around just like you or me. Like, I feel like you could do something a little different, and I think a lot of that has to do with the story, which is kind of weird because it's very fantasy based. Like, it's a fantasy based quest or prophecy, but really, when you break it down, it's your typical cop story. Mm-hmm. You just replace
also magic wands.
Yeah,
you could literally replace the magic wands with a bag full of Coke and still have the exact same story.
Yeah. So
I'm joking.
Oh, sure. No, and like here's my problem with the magic wands. I mean, it's not even so this is a little bit of a nitpick, but I thought it was really interesting because again, not somebody who's really up on like a lot of fantasy or whatever, but so when I think of magic wands, I think of Harry Potter. And I think that's fairly standard for, a lot of people who are not into fantasy writers or whatever. You think of Harry Potter, where like the wands are not such a, it's like, oh, it works better if you use a wand that is picked for you, but like you can still use somebody else's wand or whatever. And there's none of this like, if you're not one of these several people who can touch wands, you're gonna like blow up. And so I just kept going. I wish they'd come up with like some other term or some other MacGuffin, that this could have been, because like the use of like magic wands does not make me think about oh man, this is so dangerous. Like he's gonna touch a wand. I was like come on, guys. Like,
yeah, I kind of equated that. I kind of equated that as like the orcs and elves exist in many different universes, but I feel like they were pulling hard from Lord of the Rings, and they pretty much just swapped the ring with the wand and kind of just rolled with it that way.
Yeah, I definitely gotta go with you on that.
Yeah.
And what the sad part is, I really do feel like the world is like the big strong element that people are like, the world was pretty neat, and we're really just like shitting on it because it's a pretty okay world, but you're right, it should be a lot different. Like the world of Harry Potter, exists in our world, but at the same time it also has its own levels that are beyond our comprehension.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not even saying I need like a ton of stuff, but just like maybe elves live in like huts or something like that. Like it's not just a city where they're like, okay, well it's in Gotham, so like just look at this regular looking city. Like, something more should change beyond just what's written on the signs, you know? Like, so whether that's bringing in some more like nature elements to a city, or, you know, I just, there's so much you could do. And I just feel like they didn't, and it's so interesting because they literally spent $90 million on this. And I think a lot of it was shot pretty well. I mean, some of the CGI, like, you know, wand stuff or whatever may look a little silly, but like the rest of it was really well shot. And if you were just like flipping through stations, you'd be like, oh, it's a big budget action movie that probably doesn't even have elves in it, you know?
Because I felt like they spent you could see that they spent a lot of money on this, but I just think that they skimped on some areas, in particular the script.
Sure.
I felt like the script was the weakest point, and the script, like what they were saying, I was just like the first car ride, and they were talking, and I'm like, are they still talking? This makes no sense. Like I just didn't know what they were talking about, and they were talking for so long. And I was and I just kept on getting pulled out of the movie because I was just like, that's stupid. Nobody would say that. I mean, yeah, maybe if you're an elf or something, but these elves are supposed to be just like us. So why are they talking differently?
Well, what's funny is, like, I actually did enjoy, like, when they're kind of having their first drive, you know, kind of like they're on the job, you know, the way they're talking is very kind of, I don't know how cops talk, but it feels very sort of natural, like it's just another day at the office, stuff like that. But then we get in the action scenes and they're like quipping, like I think the one was that me, or is did you guys hear that?
Or is that Thor?
Yeah, he's
just being Thor.
He's moving something.
Is he reorganizing some furniture?
Man.
But anyhow, what I was saying is, like, during the action.
Oh, here he is to apologize, guys. He wants you to know he's sorry for moving things
Another
around.
interruption from Thor. Proceed.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, I think during the first, like, I think during the big car chase that they have right at the beginning, I think there's like, I think the one guy says, "They don't teach you that at the academy." It's like that's a fucking movie line. Like, that's so like cliched cop action movie line, and the movie's kind of sort of goes into that a lot. And it doesn't necessarily help the movie because a lot of the one-liners are okay at best and just really dumb at during the rest. Either okay or really dumb.
Just like they took cop movie generator and also fantasy movie generator and just like word salad, guys. Like, we got it. It was like it was like two fridge magnet poetry kits that had been put together, and they were like, good, we're done. Just add in some grunting and we're good.
They had all these scenes and they kind of just like threw them together, and nobody ever did a final read through of the entire script to like make it blend together. It's just like,
I feel like this was like the second working draft of like the script. Like, maybe like one or two more rewrites would have really sort of.
But even then,
tighten it up.
A good script could not have saved this movie, I don't think, because the universe is just not tied in with anything that they do. So
yeah.
I want you guys to explain one thing to me, or maybe explain a few things. What was the girl who was nailed to the wall, and why was she nailed to the wall?
Great question.
Okay, so from what I remember, sorry.
So
I didn't have an answer. I just, like, that's a great question. It had something to do with something.
She was one of the great ones, or something like that.
Inara, Inuka.
Because unfortunately my brain absorbs this garbage like a really good sponge. From what they said was, this evil gang of evil elves sent like an assassin elf to kill the one elf that had betrayed them with the magic wand. And then the one I guess good elf that we're with for most of the movie, who, I'll be honest, like, I hated her. Like, I was like, she is so pointless throughout this entire thing, and she has like no character whatsoever.
Yeah,
Are you talking about Tika?
Is that what her name?
Yeah.
Oh god,
Something like that.
You're right. That's what was her name.
So when I was watching it, I kept calling her like Daenerys Light.
Yeah.
But, like, I think that was her name when I looked it up later, because I was like, she was in like the entire movie, and I don't remember what her name was.
Jen, you might not be able to relate to this, but I felt like in video games when you have to deliver somebody safely from like point A to point B and they can't do shit and you kind of just have to like protect them the entire time. That's what I felt this was like you just had to like just bring her from point A to point B. Don't go too fast. Don't go too slow. Don't let her get killed. And it's just like, at the end, you're like, okay, I got her here, and I'm ready to move on. But, like, they got her there, and the movie was done.
I feel like Max Landis, right before, like, I feel like he had a deadline, and he had to write this character into the movie. And he was maybe a little bit stoned, and he rewatched The Fifth Element, and he was like, I'm going to write Mila Jovovich into this movie. I'm going to write, because I was like, this is exactly like The Fifth Element, but unlike that movie where there's like a childlike endearment, but she's also a badass.
Dude, she was.
Here she just, you got this like, I don't know, she just like doesn't really say anything.
And she looks just like all the other female elves. We're like, yeah, I don't know which one that is.
Oh my, and like,
but I guess that could just be racist because I'm just saying, all elves look alike.
Wow.
But
wow, I can't believe you would say such a thing.
But elves don't exist in society. Oh, maybe they do. Maybe in the Harry Potter side of things, if you just go to like the forest and go to the big tree, you could just go right in and you see a whole world of elves.
I don't think elves weren't. Jen, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think elves were in Harry Potter, were they? I feel like they should have been.
Well, they had like the house elves. Like Dobby was an elf.
Well, no, I mean
that's right.
Like the universe.
He sort of looked like chewed up gum. Like picture gum.
No, the universe.
They definitely weren't just people wearing ears.
No, the universe where you like go to the train station and you go like through that wall, and then there's a whole new universe out there. That's what I'm saying. Like, you go to, like, some forest and you go into a tree, and then once you go into that tree, there's a whole universe of elves that exists side by side. So, all right. Well, yeah, this movie is making as much sense as when I walked into this podcast. So
I just, and there was a lot of, part of it was, I think, they didn't do enough world building, but then they also had, like, a lot of mythology they kept throwing at you, and we're just like, what is happening, and why do I care about any of this? Like, it was like a master class in, like, just throwing random words and being like, that's a movie.
Yeah. Like, I definitely feel like in a fantasy world, you have to feel like the stakes are epic, and like a quest has like some sort of value. And I don't know if this is maybe the cop element story of it, where it's just like it's just another day of the job and stuff like that. But I actually thought of a really cool end credit scene of like how you would have improved this movie.
Let's hear it.
Which would have been like it would have cut back. So basically, after the credits roll, you have the FBI guys who are like Beardy, I don't remember his name, and then the other elf guy, and then they're like looking at the wall, and they're like in
they
some sort of
kept
van.
showing up every like 20 minutes, and it's just like, oh yeah, you guys.
Yeah,
they were always 100 feet behind the action at all times. But like I said, I thought of this right after the movie ended. I was like, this would have been a kick-ass way to like tease a sequel and like end it. So you have Beardy and you have the other elf guy, and they're talking about like, damn, magic wand. I thought we got rid of the last of these. No, there's still two. Because I think there's still two more, and the elf like stabs the guy, and then it's revealed that he's actually a part of like this group of evil elves, and it's like maybe there's some sort of like Infinity Stone countdown where it's like 2 down, 1 to go, or some. Because I think that Netflix actually had to release a freaking lore video about all the gook that's in.
Did they really?
Yes, I saw it on YouTube before I saw this movie, so I actually had some idea of what was going on, which kind of helped, but like marginally. But that would have been like a more interesting, or I feel like you could have done something to like make it feel like these actions had some sort of meaning, especially in a fantasy movie. You want to feel like there's more to the quest.
Yeah,
but really wasn't. I don't know.
Guys, can we talk about how weird like the racial elements in this movie were? I mean,
yes.
I know we're white people, but like this movie was weirdly racist, right?
Yeah, it had
white people, just like the people who wrote and directed this movie.
Oh,
fair enough. Thor would like us to all know that the people who wrote and directed this movie were also white. So it's fair game for us to talk about it.
And like they really hammered it in that first scene when
the one with like all the black people hanging out on like the neighbor's lawn.
Yeah, and Will Smith's wife
So
basically
weird.
Will Smith's wife just like walks us through how should we feel about orcs. Just like don't.
Well, we'll tell you how to feel. The Joe Rogan podcast.
Oh yes, there's a podcast in the movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Did I miss that?
Yeah, that's right in the beginning. The movie clumsily explains who Will Smith's partner is on the fucking Joe Rogan podcast. Like he said, like it's Joe Rogan, and then he's sitting down with like an orc in some sort of like political activist orc. And I'm pretty sure I want to see the podcast where Joe Rogan gets high with an orc. That's the show that that's the podcast that America needs, but not necessarily wants. All the political messaging was about as subtle as like a dump truck hitting you. Like it was just right at the nose and not clever at all. Like you guys saw Wonder Woman this summer, right?
Yes.
That was a movie that was a movie that kind of took wasn't overtly political, but did have some very poignant messages that were woven into the story very nicely, and it actually made their point stick. This one, it was just like I remember there was the one scene which is a plot point that never comes up. The internal investigators are like, Come on, Will Smith, you gotta tell your orc partner, to confess that he helped the other orc escape. And then there's like one of the guys makes some line about like why you think half the NFL defensive line is made up of orcs. It's like, and I think it's a line that is like, it's
that's
not,
so
it's like,
weird.
It's like, what the hell? Like it's bizarre and like kind of out of touch.
Yeah.
Like it's like if Tumblr wrote the political allegories in this movie.
It was very, very ham-fisted. And it was, oh gosh. And it's kind of interesting because I think of Will Smith. I don't know all of Will Smith's politics or anything. And obviously, someone who makes as much money in life as Will Smith.
I think he was a Scientologist at one point.
Yeah, he is, right.
I think so.
Well, I don't know if he still considers himself, but he definitely... I saw After Earth, which, by the way, guys, don't see After Earth.
Oh, no, I want to. I am really looking forward to it. But that's just me.
So, everything about... his son is just the complete opposite of him in terms of, one thing you can say about Will Smith, no matter what, is he's very, charming. And then it's, his son is, the anti-charisma.
Yeah.
At least in that movie. I don't know if he is in real life. But anyway, so Will Smith, maybe we have different politics. I don't know, because rich people are different from you and me. But I just kept going, I feel like you should be more woke than this script. I feel like you, Will Smith, should not be allowing this to happen. Because you should look at the script and you should be like, okay, this is great, but take out all the parts that are racist, and then I'll be in your movie, And not that I think it's his job to remake Hollywood, but some of the stuff with the neighbors all sitting on the lawn watching him beat up a fairy. Even just saying that out loud sounds absurd, but it's a scene in the movie. And then all the stuff with the Latino gang or whatever, and I'm just watching it and I'm like, I am uncomfortable with this.
Yeah.
This script did not have a sensitivity reader at any point. It was maybe you could lean a little bit off of this.
Yeah.
And make this better.
Yeah, they were trying to go for some kind of racial undertones, and it was just they didn't know what they were doing. They were simply just in there as characters, and therefore anything that they were trying to do just came out as racist.
Yeah, it was very tone deaf and just kind of it was they took talking points, but they didn't they clearly wanted the story to be about that, which is a typical, that's a typical cop story since in the heat of the night, that's a trope. And they just they didn't say anything new or different or anything that would be, especially in an era, especially in a year like 2017 where the political climate is very high. The relationship between the people and the police is pretty much is a lot more strained than it's been, in recent memory. I feel like he had an opportunity to maybe say something about what America is like in this period of time, and they could have gone one of two routes. Either A, don't do any of what I just said, or B, try to find a way to cleverly comment on, like, time capsule, what the world was like at the time. And they kind of did half and half. Like, there was a part of it where it's like, we want a generic cop action movie, and then the part of it where it's like, but let's put in these very direct, hit you on the head, messages. And it just kind of, I mean, I don't know if it would help the movie, or you'd think something like that. It's like, see, it's not just a dumb action movie. It's got something to say. But it really does. It makes it worse, surprisingly. And I feel like they probably had good intentions. I would like to think that, that there's good intentions behind it, but it was just really poorly executed and could have been done a lot better and a lot smarter. Yeah. I will say, I watched this film with a buddy of mine, and the biggest takeaway that we had from this movie is that it was kind of dull. So the way that we would spice it up is we imagined, I have no idea what David Ayer's like, but we imagined him as some sort of coked out, like, movie director, just kind of like shaking and just like having dark sunglasses on, going into a board meeting, kicking in the door, saying, Netflix, I got an idea for a movie. This Max Landis guy told me all about it on one crazy night. Okay, so it's going to be a cop movie. Like all those cop movies I made. Training Day, End of Watch. You love them. So we're going to have a cop movie, but it's not just going to be a cop movie. It's a fantasy movie. Like, he's just talking really fast. He's just spewing out these ideas.
Because he's on coke.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's on coke. He's doing little lines as he's talking about it. And it was the only thing that made me enjoy the film even slightly, because I was like, okay, then they're out of the car, and then they go into a titty bar. And then they get a shootout.
No.
Oh, but then the Latino gang, they get wiped out with these crazy ninja elves with knives and guns. And
Oh yeah, they did put ninjas in there. I forgot about them.
Wait, when were there ninjas?
In the titty bar.
Yeah, the evil elves.
Remember that they were ninjas.
They were pretty much ninjas. They moved quietly. They stabbed everybody. Like, that's...
I don't remember what they did. They were like
definition
in and out, like a ninja should be.
Sure.
I guess. But surprisingly, they couldn't catch two lackey cops, the entire runtime of the movie.
Or Daenerys Targaryen, just like hanging out, because why not?
Mm-hmm.
I swear to God, I watched this whole movie and I don't remember the ninjas. But, like, I also remember that a lot of times when it would go, like, into straight cop movie, I'd just sort of, like, check my phone or whatever. Cause
I'm not upset that you missed that.
So many times you can watch people, like, shoot up other people where you're like, what new thing are you bringing to this movie,
So one thing that I thought this movie did well was, I think Joel Edgerton as an orc was good. He
was good, like, in so much as I feel like
he did his character very...
I thought he was good, yeah.
He did his character very well. He was eager. He had an emotional side to him that really contrasted with Will Smith's kind of just get the day over with kind of attitude.
Right.
And yeah, he played it well because he also had this dynamic with his clan, and so you're like, is he a cop? Is he an orc? We don't know.
I will say this, or two quick things. Joel Edgerton made me turn into one of my favorite new character actors because he, like I said, he really knocked the role out of the park, especially with all the makeup they had to put on him.
Yeah.
The second thing was, so when they're captured by like the orc gang, one, I was like, wait, why are these orcs really pissed off? And then apparently that party that they crashed, it took me a while to realize, oh, the party that they crashed was actually this orc guy's like party. And then it took me even longer to realize that the one orc that they kept cutting to was the orc that Joel Edgerton's character saved in the beginning.
Right.
And it took me the longest time. I was like, why do they keep focusing on this guy? Until I was like, is he that orc from the beginning that he saves from getting beat up by the police?
Yeah.
And then as soon as
I didn't see that one coming, but at the end I was like, oh, I guess they made that pretty clear by going back to him repeatedly.
Yeah, I was like, he's going to be like, Father, I can't kill him. He saved my life. I was like, saw that one coming.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that's... Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, what else is on you guys' mind?
Besides coked out David Ayer, nothing much really.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I saw he also was involved in. Oh no, wait, I'm sorry. I think the writer was also involved in American Ultra, which I saw, and was like,
with K-Stu.
oh, well, that's a thing you guys did. That was the one where Mr. Facebook Movie and Miss Twilight were like stoners, but then it turned out one of them was like a secret ninja. It was
I think I kind of remember this movie.
No one else. I mean, I saw it, and I was like one of 17 people who did.
And I watched it, and I don't remember a single thing about it.
The only to be fair, I also would not have remembered it except somebody brought up that it was the same guy, and then I was like, oh, I saw that. What do I remember about that? Wasn't great. Wasn't great, Bob.
But should we go into our closing thoughts on Bright?
Yeah.
Or as I like to call it, Dim.
Sure.
Yeah. Cuz what are your closing thoughts on this?
Well, like I said, I went into watching this with the only expectation that this is going to be a bad movie. It's not necessarily a terrible movie. Like it's not a terrible movie, but it's actually something much worse. It's a boring movie. Like nothing. Like I'm kind of recalling the parts that made me laugh, but that's because I had to find ways to make myself laugh at it because it just was sort of okay. Like the directing was okay. The story was convoluted, but still followable. You could still follow it enough. Like, and that's really the biggest problem with it is that it's really forgettable. Like, I know they're going to greenlight a sequel, and who knows what they'll do with Will Smith and Joel Edgerton, but. Honestly, if this was in theaters, this would either be one of those movies that you see it. If this was actually released outside Netflix, this would either be a major Hollywood flop, or it would be one of those movies that you see in Redbox, or like you ever when you go to Redbox and you see, and then you see like, wait a minute, is that Bruce Willis?
Yeah.
Why have I not heard of this before?
Gotta rent that one.
Yeah, and there's probably a reason why you haven't heard of it.
Right, and I feel like this movie is a movie that you watch one time and you will never watch it again because it was intriguing the first time to see what they did. Like, okay, I get the gist of this. Will Smith is being Will Smith, and but there's nothing to this. It's a very bad movie that has an initial appeal to it, but after that, it falls flat. Because there's nothing to keep you intrigued. Not nothing to keep you intrigued because this movie is very fast paced and there's a lot of action scenes, which is fun. But it's just there's nothing to it. There's no glue that holds everything together. There's some good makeup, I'll give them that, but it's not a good ending. It's just Jen.
So I know there were no women involved in the making of this movie, and here's why. Here's how I know. Because when I hear the phrase magic wand, okay, I don't think about, like, orcs or whatever. I think about vibrators. And I think if they would just consult some people. Like, I think if anyone, like, they had this script. Somebody wrote this script, possibly while coked out, as suggested by Charles. Somebody wrote this script, and then no one read it, And I think if you just had some other people read things, they could point out things like famous vibrators or racism.
Yeah. There was no proofreading this.
So I'm just like, should Netflix be listening? And I think, given our great podcast on the Christmas Prince, they probably are.
Yeah. I mean, it could have been like a necklace.
It could have been. It could have been a lot of things. It could have been
a crown or something,
a die, or a sword.
Yeah, can't be too explicit.
I mean, I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
Also, I don't believe you should make a sequel to a movie where you kill Margaret Cho. I think you should not kill Margaret Cho and then have her also be in the sequel. Like, to me, that's a waste.
That was actually something I just remembered about. Was like in terms of weird, like sort of like odd casting. I was like, Margaret Cho, what are you doing in this movie?
Right?
And then she's like,
what happened?
She's in there 2 scenes. She's the gritty sergeant, and then she's like, okay, we got to kill Will Smith.
Margaret Cho.
She was the sergeant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I follow.
She has like I've seen her. I remember her from like Whose Line Is It Anyway and a couple other comedy stuff. It was just kind of odd seeing her sort of like in this movie. It was like after Joe Rogan, though. It was like that was probably my second surprise. Like, wait, you're in this movie too?
Yeah, Joe Rogan.
Yeah, it's a weird mix of people where you kept being like, here are a bunch of good people you could have made have a bigger role instead of shooting them a third of the way into the movie. Like, I'll have to say, that was a genuinely shocking moment for me, because I generally think that if you're going to get like a name actor, you're not going to kill them fairly soon into the whole thing. So,
Right.
They did surprise me, Like, I will say they did surprise me there.
Yeah.
I guess the one last question I want to ask, leave for the group, and Jen, you kind of touched on this a little bit, but 2 or 3 years from now, Bright 2 is right on the Netflix homepage.
Yeah.
Do you watch it? Just either out of curiosity, out of interest,
Okay.
out of just whatever?
Hands down, I love
Listen.
sequels. I love series of movies.
There's two answers here. On the one hand, I don't want to encourage Netflix. On the other hand, like, I gotta watch something while I'm folding laundry. You know what I'm saying? I cannot pay as close attention as I did, and I will say I did watch the entire thing. Like, my eyes were watching the movie, and yet I still missed the ninjas. So maybe I wasn't paying as close of attention as I could have been. But like, I do feel like this is the kind of movie that was designed to be half watched, where you could you're like doing the dishes or something, and then also this movie's happening, and then Will Smith has some line, and you're like, oh, that was funny, but like you don't have to think too hard about it.
Yeah.
So my answer is yes, sort of. I will watch it. It will not be well listened to.
All right. Well,
I'll wait for a nice rainy day.
Yeah, just, rainy day, also more wine, laundry, and then orcs for some reason.
yeah. And ninjas.
Perfect Sunday.
So.
Oh, here's a quick follow-up question, though. Where in the world do you go next with this story? Will Smith is like king of police now. They got an award. He got to wear white gloves. He's got his family back. What happens in the second movie?
Oh, I don't know. I believe that they're going to follow the guy whose life was saved, because that's just the one screenshot that I saw of the next one, because I think a new trailer has been released.
Really?
But honestly, just do the same exact thing, because it's going to fail, so...
Just pull. I'm trying to think.
Throw Kevin Smith in there. I mean,
Yeah.
why not?
Yeah, get some more nerd.
Just get all the Smiths in the movie you can.
Yeah. Oh, get Kevin Smith and Kevin James.
Perfect.
And that is why people will see it.
I'd love it. Guys, we've already given the sequel more thought than the director did. Like, it's fine.
Just pull a Beverly Hills Cop, put it in a different town, and just have some crazy shit go. Just have some innovative action sequences. That's all I can ask for. Just something. Just at least do something fun with like guns, cars, and explosions.
All I want, guys, is when this movie comes out, we all get on Skype and watch it together. I'll do my laundry, and then we talk about it.
I'm down with it.
I'm game.
Perfect.
So
Perfect. Put it on
All
your
right.
calendars 3 years from now.
All right.
tune in, folks.
Assuming Netflix still exists at that point.
Oh, jeez. If they exist. They're going to merge with Amazon and just take over the world.
You heard
This
it
is
here
just
first. Gorehound said it.
Yeah. Amazon, Netflix merger.
Disney buyout.
Sigh. All right. Let's close this bad boy out. All right. I'm the Gorehound,
I'm Cousin Charles.
And I'm Jen.
and we are the all-new CultureCast. Catch you next week.
You've been listening to the all-new Culture Cast. Check out our blog at znculturecast.wordpress.com. Send us an email at nick.culturecast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your feedback, comments, and requests. Follow us on social media. Theme music by bensound.com. The all-new Culture Cast, a saltwater production. Original material copyright 2018. Thanks for listening.